Hello guys, welcome to the Python series. Today we are going to talk and discuss about a topic known as exception handling. Python, whenever some error message shows up or something goes wrong in the program, there's an error message which is showing up. So these error messages are nothing but the built-in exceptions that are raised when your program encounters this particular error. So when these exceptions occur, the Python interpreter stops the current process and passes it to the calling process until it is handled or sorted out. So if it doesn't be handled or it doesn't have sorted out, the program will crash. For example, let us consider a program where we have a function A that calls function B, which in turn calls function C. If an exception occurs in function C, but it is not handled there, the exception passes to B and then to A. If it is never handled, an error message creates and a program comes to a sudden unexpected halt. So in order to deal with this, to handle the error messages and to get an intimation before this error message occurs, we use these exceptions which are like, can we handle using this set of state try, except, raise, finally. So when exceptions can be handled using a try statement, so the critical operation which can raise an exception which is placed inside the try clause, the code that handles the exceptions is written in the except clause. So, and exceptions are raised when errors occur at runtime. So, by runtime, we can manually raise exceptions with the raise keyword. So, in the try statement, also have an optional finally clause. So, in this clause, statements under this executed no matter what, and is generally used to release external. Now, let's do an example on try and X. First, let me take a variable and say that thing and to, let's say, ask the user to enter his first number. So let me say like enter 10. Next, we're going to ask the info. Let's say you're gonna get the division in, let's say, and here you can see that it would just give you the direct output without any problems. What now, going to the topic of that recently enter something wrong or something goes wrong with your program or something, there would be some error messages which show. These error messages are nothing but the built-in exceptions that are present in the Python program itself. So when the error message occurs, the process which you are undergoing stops right there, and it asks us correct that mistake, then proceed further. Before even getting to these error messages, what if we could get an intimation saying that the the name which is entered is wrong, or the variable which is signed is wrong, or something? Could use that try and accept help us in that case. Let us try using this try and accept. Let us say if is be the first input which the user take and one. So now we just have to print whatever is all formatted. In the case of AB, that case we have used the, let's say that the output which has been retrieved the finalized output on after get values of format. So now when we try to enter our first number, let's say 10, so we would receive the output to be 5. So let's try this and let's I would enter 0 in this case. My second number to be 0. So you would say that error message has occurred. So we would want to know what is that error message. Basically, what you try to do is I run this case, like enter my number to be 10. When I run this, let me try 0. So here you can see that it like occurs as 0 division. So this is a 0 division error. So we would have got that exception be a 0 division. I've already got an indication that the error which you have error which that could get an intimation that we can correct that number not by. Now when we try the same, here you can see that it will that the number is not. Next, what we do is if we change this variable instead of a and b, that's what happens. So here you can see pops up and other exception. It's saying that name error. What we do is another exception. Except create this name. So print that for variables have not variables entered not defined. Enter this. We try the same. Here you can see that variables entered how we got. And so now if I try to do this one more, try 10 and let's try some value. So it's show me that there's a value error saying that invalid literal or int. So found another exception which is value error. So let me take this down. I can say valid data type. So now when I try to execute the same, say invalid data type has been entered. So now one more thing which I can try is that so if my first integer value of first input turns out to be a negative integer or a negative value, and let's say I'll not be using those kind of values, so I can raise an exception that would be a type error, And whenever I try to execute it, let us say I minus 10 and let it be any other value. So it would show me that type error. So what I would do in this case is that I would write as except type error. I would say I would like valid. So now when I try to same and check it out, say that it's valid input. So that's how you try and accept. So if this doesn't work out, what we can try is a method as finally, regardless the error which is being. So regardless the error message, this would print. So whatever the error message, I let's say I take out this name error. So let me try to do it. Here you can see that this x y are not defined. So you would get a name error. Then this also would be printed finally. So regardless the error message printed later on. I hope you guys understand.